InShalla and Ashe, we are live. Ashe is always blessings to you, my energetic beings. I love to say that actually, it just gets me in the flow. So, are you super excited and ready for this week's Muse? Just so you know, I'm still in recalibration mode for my daily snippet. The mind really is a tool, and I am actually reorganizing on so many levels, just organically switching it up. But today I want to muse about our body as a resource, the hidden messages. I recently had a soul sister at my enchanted village, and I took her up to the Uinta Mountains in Utah to see the beings that actually dwell in the other realms. We saw portals and different elements into these realms, natural spring water literally bubbling out of the earth. We gathered so many items to do ritual with later in the evening. So I really spent the entire weekend pretty much in ritual activities, I should say. And actually, when I say the word ritual, it's actually a word used to mean ceremony, doing things in a prescribed order. A lot of religions use it along with worshiping. So when I say ritual, it's a magical way of connecting with aspects that are in need of being nurtured in ways that our mind has forgotten. So it's an aspect to climb back into our skin. So we all have patterns or lessons that we need to be learned. So for me, it's like, okay, what's the lesson? Did I get the memo? And if not, sometimes I feel like we're on this constant hamster wheel that we literally cannot get off of. And my sense is that the 2020 experience was the universe bumping people off of that wheel. Like, what really matters in our inner world, in our heart, or in our day to day reality? And then how does that cascade or flow out into not just the cosmos, but actually the world? The global world, and even out into our future. So, just like nature, we are always changing. Nothing about nature or nothing about anything really is at a standstill. And when things become stagnant, like our lymphatic system, that's when our body becomes sick or diseased. Things feel uneasy. So if you find yourself feeling like you are still on that hamster wheel and you can't get off, or you got off the wheel and you can't seem to get back on, you're doing everything you can, but you're not moving forward. Whether it's, a higher health quotient, maybe your mind is that chirping cricket, when the crickets go off in your mind. I know a lot of times mine can be. Sometimes I cannot talk as fast as I'm feeling or sensing and getting these crazy downloads. So I literally sit on my hands so I can slow down that channel. So our body has different natural ways that are actually organic, how it transforms. So just being open to new things or trying new things, in order to be useful, we actually shift that curve and learn a new way of being. It's like getting in the flow. If you've ever sat and just watched a stream or a creek or even a river, and New Year's resolutions always include these types of things as well to get in the flow. So, a lot of people diet, which I really don't like the word diet. I prefer nutrition quotient, better health. What does that even mean? Fitness or exercise, whatever it is, the need of an upcycling, it always requires change. And whether we are successful or we fail at something, which I really think there is nothing that is a failure, more it's actually a lesson. Even mistakes are the same. As long as we get the memo on whatever that is or whatever it looks like. For me, the embody aspect, it's like spicy food. My body doesn't like spicy food. I can have a little bit, but not too much heat. And sometimes I try it anyway. And, we all know what happens when spice goes through the system. But it's our solar plexus. It's our will. It's our self-esteem. It's even our self-confidence or how determined or motivated we are. That's what gets us in the flow, our innate beingness. It's the ability that we all have to adapt to change or even being flexible to the change, kind of the change in our minds, going with the wind, setting goals, having a plan, going in a new direction, a different action, and committing and deciding. So I'm kind of getting in this flow of committing and deciding to where I want to flow with my show, to keep it more on task, I guess, and more insightful, intuitive, inspiring. I'm asking myself this: is this inspiring? Is this informational? Is this something that's going to assist others? And just learning in general is a constant. We're constantly learning. And we have so many choices that blast our inboxes, right? My emails, I'm sure you're getting a ton of those, or a social media story, or the mainstream narrative, all of these handheld devices, being on the computer, whatever it is. So it's hard actually to know where to begin when we start getting off the hamster wheel or trying to get back on. Rediscovering our ancestral roots, our lineage. Maybe Uncle Bob was an asshole in another timeline, and you contracted to heal his not so kind story that carried over from another timeline or even another lifetime. So 2020 really was the gear shifter, either in slow motion or actually in reverse, where you are sitting on the cloud lines watching it like a movie. That's what was literally happening for me. Or if you just shifted a down gear to find your inner peace, find your inner joy, find your true happiness on your inner world. Just releasing that which really wasn't meant to be on your inner hard drive, your blueprint, encouraging you to literally switch gears and leveraging those beneficial things, and maybe actually letting go of things that no longer serve you in a vibrational, frequenting, energetic kind of way. So we've been moving a lot of downgrades, just as a whole, like the galactic whole, right? Just like old files, things from the Dark Ages, the Byzantine era, the Egyptians, just different ages in general and what they were about, the American Revolution, and so much more. So what you might be experiencing is actually from a recalibration or a restoration. I'm thinking of an old Model T Ford because I know that's what my dad would be doing. He loves to rebuild old cars. So this is kind of where our body, mind, soul, and even our spirit self, we go back to our original core of who we are, like what we look like in the other realm. And the Dagara, it's called our Sira, it's our higher self. And calling in our higher self to assist us, because I sense that we have all these different characters at play. It would probably feel like being kind of schizophrenic in a way, but having those conversations to get intuitive insights, whatever that looks like. And really taking us back to our default setting, like maybe who we were before we came into this dimension, or, before we were born in our soul story. Minus all the cosmic foreign debris, whether it's mental or physical, an overstimulation and understimulation. Getting into the zone of neutrality, and you can upcycle and achieve in a radical speed with actually little effort. It's kind of like the wisdom of the Stone Ages in a virtual reality world, a total body kind of reset using our imagination at the core of the imagination, and getting to know the child that actually likes to explore, to be creative. It's our inner child, and also still take care of our day-to-day reality, right? And hey, I know it can be a challenge, or maybe it appears like one. So it's a matter of like shifting our inner power base and transforming our life force from a space of dread to a force of our inner innate nature, our authenticity. So we decide on a daily basis what that looks like, whether we're aware of it consciously or not. And just writing down our own personal narrative is actually a way to change, or to at least start the transformation. So we all have, these inner voices in our head. And when we start writing them down, those inner voices, it actually, that's one way to land it in the physical world, because we're taking it out of the galactic corridor of what's our inner world, our inner body, our inner mind. So I bring this up mostly to assist those of you that are on or want to kind of go down the corridor of different aspects of healing, which honestly, I think healing is a very broad word, kind of like intuition or being psychic. Everybody has what's called a genius, a gift, a purpose. Our elders have this inner wisdom, and I see it a lot that we really, or I should say, at least in America, we don't listen much or respect those that have come before us. And I get it. I see people that are kind of stuck in a timeline too. And I actually mused about this the other morning to myself. I'm a watcher in multiple ways. If you didn't happen to watch my show on Sunday with Gerald of Soundpill, you can find him at soundpill.net. Just how sound and frequency, even in our tone of our voice, carries that vibration to, show where we're off center or maybe what center is highlighted. For me, it's super curious and I find it really interesting. And I think our bodies are actually very unique. It's kind of an orchestra of all things, whether that's sound, vibration, color, and more, because our energy body is more dynamic. If it was static, that's where we start picking it up because we're not moving. It's dynamic in a way where we're constantly interacting with everything daily, hourly, down to the minute second, the nanos. And again, it's whether we're aware of it or not. So getting unstuck from our past and upcycling to a higher vibration future, personal self-care, that alone creates change in our body and our mind. It triggers this renewal. It creates an upgrade in our life force energy, just raising the field. So we can imagine in ways that actually connect us with our gift, our purpose, our inner genius. Incredible magic literally starts to happen because you're alive, you are growing, you're constantly shifting. And we're all in this magical universe of energy, vibration, and frequency. And we all take from the earth and the sky, even the air. That's where it comes in from, right? The air, the inner and the outer world, just nourishing us. We drink from these rivers and even from the sky. We just had a rainstorm here and I actually collected rainwater. I use the waters in different rituals for healing. It's just bringing the outer nature to the inner nature because we're all a part of this cosmic cell dynamic. It's in our blueprint. It's in our genetics. So we even, we shift the sun into our energy bodies. We need the sun. And who really doesn't want to flourish and expand, your roots or extend a branch, a helping hand, flowering and dispersing, just sharing our inner garden, our light, really, to anyone who wants or needs some shade for that matter, opening up to just receiving all of that juiciness. Not just being the giver, it's a two-way channel. You have to, and I have a hard time receiving, opening up to receive. I like to cook. That's kind of my way of giving, but the reception, the receiving is really a challenge for a lot of us, actually. That's why, some people appear to wither and fade in all of this richness within a garden, a sacred garden. But we actually need to pull some of those weeds. And we can live well in a high vibe, or we can live poorly and disheveled because of a lot of factors that play out in our environment, our world. It's the air we breathe, the food we eat, even the job or the work or career that we perform, whatever that looks like, down even to the people that we socialize with or collaborate with. So all of this is either a delight to our garden or it can oppress our garden. And the qualities of this existence is actually vital to our own within our beingness. So things can be actually stimulating or boring. And if things are boring, that's like time to wake up and shift. It's the state of our own inner awareness that creates that reality in our day to day. It's like, literally what you focus on is actually what comes to you, whether it's positive or negative. So you have to really focus in your heart-centered space and kind of it's literally, we're all going through this recalibration. We've been on this hamster wheel and we're watching the flow of the rivers, the crossroads of a world that's, it's in this high shifting transformation. And Malidoma, I work with regular. I mentor with him. I connect with him as needed, just texting, right? But he expressed that our world is actually on its side. So it's like in a cosmic soup, getting to the roots of our beingness and discovering who we are, where life gives us more than we could ever imagine. Whether it's wellness, health, happiness, love, love of self. First, you have to love self first, because that's the kind of love you're going to attract. Whatever's going on in your inner world, it's going to drag in from your outer world. That's, the constant flow. It's the infinity. So we also have this creativity that stretches beyond our imagination and the limits of our feelings. So thoughts or memories are what preoccupy our minds, and all that chaos that appears to be erupting around the world, literally just shifting the narrative, the story, to a venue that brings not just a higher vibration of health to inner well-being, which actually needs that nurturing, but also the outer world in our day-to-day reality, shifting our perspectives to a new frequency or vibration that's actually more satisfying to the whole instead of just a few. So some of this is like an abrupt surprise. It's calling us to change. It's a wake-up call. And just being willing to craft or create a new story instead of going on or into the mistake of the could haves, the would haves, the should haves. You don't ever want to should yourself to death. And just learning from them and seeing a new story in our inner world that spreads our light to the outer world, whether it's our home environment or out galactically in society. So just, living in general holds out different challenges, adversities, abruptness, hiccups, So our energy body, we have unlimited possibilities to draw upon abundance in a variety of forms. A lot of people look at abundance, it's always money related. Well, that's really an exchange of energy. We really need to energize ourselves in our inner garden to really be abundant in whatever form that really is for you. Whether it's in our bodies, our minds, our soul, our spirit, our Sira and our other world, the Wetamays, the nature beings, the Cantumble that live, in the waters and the caves and the earth, they everywhere. When my girlfriend was here for the weekend, there were so many beings that were alive and well. It was amazing. So we can create and self-actualize and access all of these things. You can have a body that is strong, healthy, fit, whatever that looks like for you. A mind, for me, it's always curious. I'm questioning everything. I'm not believing the narrative. I really don't watch the news. That was, and I've experienced other people, you can go down that rabbit hole. And what is that rabbit hole bringing you? We are literally in a time of change and transformation. Energetically, we've put so much, we've created so much of this reality of metal and mineral. And to bring balance, we need more of nature. Nature is transformation and change. It's being authentic to who you are. I believe that's why the experiment, or the experience of 2020, I should say, that was our wake-up call as a world, a globe, not just in areas. It was the whole cosmic universe, right? Just, actually even sitting in solitude and reflecting and operating from a space to muse with other beings, a spirit that's more engaged and enriched by cosmic energies, literally the galactic frontier, the energy of the entire universe. It's a vast sea of energetic fields that actually radiate through space and time, and also space and time, or time and space. Giving a pause, just pulling yourself out of that stream and taking a pause. So we all have this special, unique energy that functions with different characteristics that are unique to each and every one of us. It's our genius. So our being will struggle, or maybe it appears to struggle, to living a life that actually carries us out in the world beyond the struggle. So it might appear real, but when you step out of the struggle and take a breath and take a pause, it tends to dissipate. So it's this optimistic venue for transformation. So how you envision yourself at any moment will really reinforce the reality of your world, your inner world, your world in your day-to-day, and the world actually outside in the galactic corridor, in the total global community. So it's our thoughts, our feelings, how we love ourselves or don't. It's so much more, and they're all part of this equation. And sometimes we're not aware of the intimate ways that we're actually all interconnected. It's like this internetedness, which of course it varies in multiple degrees. Even what we eat affects our thoughts. Our mood changes how we walk, or even our breath can really alter our thoughts. So just taking a pause and a breath, giving time and space in the moment to the moment. When we take time and space for our inner garden, the day-to-day garden is really an expression. And when we go to the doctor, and you might get that diagnosis, or they tell you, like for me, that my cholesterol or our heart or whatever had some issues, but they don't really seem to ask anything about the emotions behind the charge. So we can envision ourselves as a personal anatomy where we bring in our weight and our shape, matter. So we often feel, see, or think that we are just this physical matter, but we're actually more energetically. And when you put all of that aside and really, muse or think about your body, your emotions, your brain, and your mind as a swirl of energy with a heart field and so much more. And not just vitality, because that's an aspect, but we have at our ever moving disposal, we have all of this available, but more as a being of energy, where we're constantly taking in more positive energy, hopefully, from our environment, where this energy actually gets shared with everything around us. So it's like this duality of give and take, but opening to receive. When you think about nature and plants and rivers, the earth, it's just constantly renewing through time and space, the seasons within its environment. And when we connect with that space, we are really the same way. We're never at a standstill. Our cell dynamics always shifting. If your body isn't feeling great, maybe you need to ask what it needs for nurturing. I prefer green smoothies. I don't drink them every day, hot lemon water. So I tune into what my body's feeling like, and I always ask people when they come over what they want to eat, because that's part of how I nurture others, is through feeding them. That's just an aspect. So we literally become alive with the constant acts of living life in this change and this transformational way. We might get an energetic hiccup from time to time. That's what I call them, or a trivial pursuit. Sometimes that's what it is. But what is the message there? It's not going, necessarily going down the rabbit hole, and just recognizing yourself and rediscovering yourself as this life force and conscious energies that's aware of your fullest being, your highest potential, and shifting the perspective in our minds. So when we perceive ourselves as a living vibrational energetic force of, vibration, frequency, more, energetics, the presence in our light of our spirit actually glows with a host of these unlimited possibilities. We can then decide the quality of our world, our inner world, our day-to-day world, and outside. And we decide how our energy should flow. So when the energy is flowing properly, like a stream or a river or a creek, the vitality of our inner being literally awakens. And when it doesn't flow like a stream or a bubbling spring for that matter, that's when adversity literally happens. It's, that's where our peace and our clarity comes from, is recognizing our own inner flow, our own inner creek, our river, our stream, whatever that looks like for you. And when it does flow like that bubbling spring, that's like the birth of new ideas energetically. So everything for me, when I look at anything in nature or when I'm doing a divination, I'm looking for what's not in flow or where the flow is going. Or, there's so much in a divination, but when it does flow like that bubbling spring or creating a stream, then a creek into a river, and then, out into a pond, a lake, an ocean, we literally feel energetic. So just tuning into the needs of our bodies, it's like if you feel hungry, then eat. Now, what you eat is also the story, right? Or, you have to just be aware if you're eating just to eat, and is it nurturing to you? Is it going to make you feel sad? Is it going to make you feel sick? So I am highly attuned to what I eat. I focus more on the organic. I still eat meat, just not a lot. If you feel tired, take a nap. Your body is telling you to take a nap. Not necessarily sleep, but maybe you need to take a nap. If you feel like being alone, be alone. Tuning into these feelings and life energies when we express through and with our bodies, it's using up energy, but we also learn through whatever that action is, and even what that expression of energy means, along with what it does to our entire beingness. And in this way, we're creating our own choreography. We're understanding and we're using our life energy, and it determines how we continue to actually live forward. So, have you ever noticed whether you love or hate an activity, or maybe you get excited about it? There's an expression of different energies that come out. And have you noticed that when you truly, absolutely, 100% love what you're doing, how like time just like flies by? It's like, where did the day go? And you feel like this calm, innate tiredness. When that happens, you're feeding an energy as information, and that actually gets stored in your memory bank. So just shifting your perspective of how you see yourself, instead of like different parts, and you merge all of this together as an awareness of consciousness, just merging all of it like your own personal cosmic soup. It's nourishing to your soul, your spirit, your mind, and your body. It's like gathering in a pool, or a pond of water from a waterfall. So if you've yet to just literally check out my club.tonyad.tv, I kind of have explored these different levels of tuning into different frequencies based on where people might be in their life journey in Earth School, right? So if you haven't checked it out, please do. And, there's a new idea of looking at yourself more as an energy being first, and I've created a few of these courses. They're really kind of like a series of novels, so innately the beginner would probably be The Balance of Being would be a good one, or Loving the Skin You're In. That would be a great one to add to that. Next week, I kind of want to explore just the energy body in general, and just give you some ideas of how you can start that recalibration as well. And I want to create, I told you I'm recalibrating. I'm super excited about it, but it's all baby steps, right? Nothing happens overnight. Babies aren't born in an afternoon. They need time and space to get nurtured in the womb. So this is kind of my muse for today. Thanks for showing up. Gratitude for tuning in, and more importantly, for listening. I will be creating the Musing Moon meditation, the Cancer New Moon. I'm really excited about these Musing Moon meditations, so if you could comment and share, I'd absolutely grateful for that appreciation. There are also, just to go on a tangent, I guess, the new moon wishes that you can do, especially if you know your natal chart in astrology, whenever the moon is transiting through your 11th house, uh, the new moon, but I kind of do it on all the moons. And I mean, it's our house of hopes and wishes and dreams, which I really don't even like the word hope. It's also our house of like society and groups. So yes, I'm super excited about this one. I wouldn't really recommend doing more than 10 wishes, really, because the energy kind of gets lost in the stream, and you kind of have to focus on the wish every day, at least 3 times in the morning, the afternoon, the evening. The 369, it's a codex. Uh, that's why I would say focus on 3 wishes. And that actually kind of ended up being a longer snippet than I was thinking it would be. But again, just some ideas to muse about. Climbing into your skin. Check out my club. Let me know what you think. I'd love to hear the design. And as always, I will see you on the other side. I'm hoping to get the daily snippet going. So just be aware of that. InShalla and Ashe, enjoy your magical day. Blessings to you.